Hello everyone and welcome along to another night in the TGP1 series. It's season 34, rounds 18 and 19. No, rounds 19 and 20 even, sorry about that. Rounds 19 and 20, we're here at USA and Mexico. First race round Cota. The second race is the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. And we've got two exciting races for you tonight. Quickly going through the championship standings, well, we've got about 2.5 minutes left in this qualifying session here at the Circuit of the Americas. Kyle is leading the championship in Williams on 243 points. 22 back on 221 is Matt Tibos. Third place is Dan the Man on 48 back. And Corey is fourth with 191, 52 points back. Welcome Dom to the commentary box tonight. How are you tonight, Dom?
Yeah, good evening, Owen. Great to be here. 2 final weeks of the season to come, and still, as you said, 4 drivers in this championship fight. But realistically, it's a crucial stage of the season tonight for Dan, Matt and Corey to claw back some of the points that they need to get back on Kyle, who does lead the way, still with only 2 wins this season. Matt Tibbles with a few more on 6, but Matt Tibbles still the chaser at the moment, and we're about to see the final laps of qualifying here at the United States. Kyle is on a lap. He's currently improving. He currently needs to find 2 tenths to displace Matt Tibbles, who's looking for a 7th pole position of the season. Very good for him so far in qualifying. Matt Tibbles is just starting his outlap now, so all eyes are on Kyle to see what he can do in this final sector. Can he put that Williams right at the front? As I said, 2 tenths to find. A couple more corners to navigate. Needs to be careful not to go too wide in that lap. But so far, so good for Kyle. Round the final corner. What can he do? A 130.1 to beat. He does improve, but not by the gap he needed to. So Kyle, for now, stays second with Dan, Jack and Matt Tibbles still to run.
Yeah, just trying to see who's next on a flying lap. We've got Matt Tibos coming out the pit lane. Dan the Man is in the middle sector. Jack Hickey's just starting a flying lap now. He's the next of the top 5 to start a flying lap. Jay Luke was further up the road than Kyle, so he's already done his final run. Doing a back off lap before a final push lap if he's got time. Not sure where he is on the circuit, but Jack Hickey coming through the first sector now, the twisty first sector here, modelled on a combination of the Suzuka S's and Maggots and Beckett's at Silverstone. So what's his first sector time going to be? It is going to be about half a tenth up on his previous best stop.
Yeah, it's looking good at the moment, and we've also got Matt and Dan who are about to start their laps, but Jack Hickey, we're keeping our eyes on him for the moment. The Racing Point is really impressed in the second half of this season, had a really good race. I think back in Monaco, finished P2, just missing out on his first league win in the top tier, but since then he's really come alive on that Racing Point. Of course, he was in TGP2 last season, that's where a few of these drivers, but this season has come alive, as I said, in that Racing Point, and at the moment, P4. Can he displace the top 3 in the championship at the moment? Matt, Kyle and Dan, the top 3 in the championship. Currently top 3 in qualifying. Dan and Matt have just started their laps now, as has Aidan, who's currently down in 9th place. So keep an eye on those 3 after Jack set his lap. Currently 2 tenths quicker, Owen.
Yeah, well, 3 tenths nearly quicker as he goes into that last sector. He's coming round turn 16 now, and he's just got the reverse turn 8 of Turkey. That is 17 and 18. Through it goes, basically flat all the way around. Careful that car on the outside keeps out of the way, which does, and it was Kyle. Down through the penultimate corner, very easy to get a track extension on the exit there. Now into the final corner, down to 3rd gear, needs to get a good exit, a short run to the line though. What's his time going to be? He goes second with a 30.1.
So close to the pole time, just 200 behind Matt Tibbles. That's a great lap from Jack Hickey, doing a really good job in that Racing Point this season. So Dan the Man is the next eyes on him. Pushing hard, he had Dan and Matt in between him, so maybe he was a bit worried about the cars ahead and behind, but he screwed up his lap, and now it's a great chance for Dan to suddenly put that Ferrari a few places higher and hopefully onto the front row for him.
Yes, he will indeed as he goes through this last sector now on this lap. Good lap so far from Dan. I'm not sure how far up or anything like that here's the time being. Meanwhile, Matt Tibos has set a new pole position of a 29.7. That is going to take some beating. Dan the Man is going to try his best through the final couple of corners now. Just got one more corner to go in the Ferrari. What's he going to do? He's going to come across the line now. DRS wide open, and he puts himself second. Doesn't even break into the 29s.
Crucial lap from Dan the Man. He needed to be up there tonight. He needs to get big points on Kyle. Kyle is starting 4th at best. I think everyone has finished their laps. Machine Fishy will be the last one to finish their time. What can he do? He's won a couple of races so far this season. Back in France and Italy, what can he do here? Currently P16, he needs a good qualifying. Hasn't got on the title fight this season, but he can get on the race for the championship, and he goes into P4. So crucially, ahead of Kyle, championship leader.
Yeah, so Matt Tibos starts on pole for this race. Everyone's done their laps now. Matt Tibos will start on pole. One of the title contenders, Dan the Man, is going to start second, and Kyle will be in 5th. the championship leader is the slowest in this qualifying session of the main title contenders. Dom.
Yeah, he is. That's not what he needs to be. Matt Tibbles has been on some sort of form lately. He's won the last 3 races in a row. Singapore, Russia and Japan. Wasn't the best start to the season. He did get a couple of wins. I think it was Vietnam and China. But he had a few hit and miss races since then, and suddenly has come alive in the second half of this season. 3 wins in a row. Can he make it 4? Suddenly he has a real chance of taking the championship lead tonight, which would be quite amazing considering the gap he was behind only a few weeks ago.
Yeah, it is indeed. We've got about final few, just waiting for the couple of guys to retire who are in the pit lane at the moment before we can get on and give you the full rundown of the results on your screen, and that will be that. But decent qualifying session. We've got, what is it, 14 laps around this 3.4 mile circuit, 5.5 kilometres of the circuit of the Americas. It is 20 turns, and there's a couple of main overtaking zones. You've got into turn 1 and into turn 12. So here we are. Here's the full rundown of the results. Matt Tibos is on pole by about 3/10 over Dan the Man in second. Then we've got Jack Hickey and Machine Fishy making up row 2. Kyle and Jay Lucas and all Williams row 3. Then we've got Jake Davis and Knighton on row 4. Lahofner and Aiden round out the top 10. Then we've got Iceman in 11. Jovial Manatee in 12. Then we've got Kong Hoffner in 13th. Paul McGuinness in 14th. 15th is Speed Risky. And then Waze and Corey are going to be starting up the back of this race.
I think Mercedes will be a little disappointed with their qualifying performances. Paul down in 14th, not a position he's used to being in. Hasn't quite been at the pace of the front runners this season. He is very good in the race, so I do suspect him to get into that fight for the top 10 through this 14-lap race here at the United States, the COTA circuit. But Corey, also keep an eye on him. I think both Mercedes drivers will be working their way up through the field. We are expecting a dry race, so no rain this time. We've had a lot of wet races lately, I think, Owen, but thankfully dry for this one, so we should get a good fight here with some drivers coming through the back of the grid and the guys in the front fighting for that title.
Yes, they will indeed. So, just getting ready to go. We've got about, what, a minute? Not even that, probably, until the race start here at the circuit in the Americas. It's going to be a dry race for these 14 laps round this circuit, unlike the TGP2 race last week, which rained from start to finish. So the teams are going to make their final few preparations here, ready to go for round 19 of TGP1 season 34 round this COTA circuit. Quick predictions before the race starts, Tom.
I can't call it. I'm sorry, I can't call it. I think Matt Tibbles has to be, of course, the one to watch. Dan the Man gets good starts at the moment in recent races. Keep an eye on him. But yeah, Corey, I think we might get a shot winner here, and I'm going to go with Jack Hickey.
Okay, that's your prediction for the race as we get the final few preparations and the clock ticks down to 0. We've got 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights here at the circuit in the Americas, and the lights out and the way we're going. That looked like quite a poor start from Dan, actually. Very poor start from Dan. He's getting swamped. Matt Tibos, solid start off the line. He's going to be leading round turn 1, but it's going to be a pinch point round the back. There's a bit of debris flying down the back of the field as well, but Matt Tibos coming through nicely there. Machine Fishy's going to be in second. Dan the Man's going to be third into the S's.
Fishy gaining 2 places into turn 1. A fantastic start for the Alfa Romeo driver. Now we can start to chase down Matt Tibbles, who is just 6/10 up the road. Dan the Man getting a poor start, unlike him, down to P3. Kyle Crishley still in that top 5, still in that hunt. Jay, not sure what happened to him, but he's lost a couple of places too. But yeah, great start for Fishy, not so much for Dan.
Yeah, Jack Hickey all over the back of Dan the Man. Is he going to make a move potentially into turn 11? No, not quite. He's going to sit back on this straight, try and get a good exit, and maybe have a look down into turn 12. But the top 5, as we run, is Matt Tibos, Machine Fishy, then with Dan the Man, Jack Hickey, and Kyle is currently running in 5th place. He's just sitting back and watching the 2 in front of him maybe go for a move. We've got Knighton in 6th, Jake Davis in 7th.
Kyle has been so smart all season. The reason he's at the top of the championship with just 2 race wins is because he's not getting involved in incidents he doesn't need to be involved in. He takes his time, he's patient, and he picks up the pieces when others make mistakes or go wide. So Kyle will be very cautious here. He won't rush anything. He knows the strategy so far that he's done has got him into the lead of the championship. So just keep doing this. But yeah, Kyle, crucially, P5, didn't lose any places, and Jack Hickey looks under threat ahead of him.
Yeah, he does indeed. He's all over the back of Jack Hickey. He's run wide a little bit on the exit of turn 19 there. That'll probably be a corner cut warning and probably his first one of the race. Matt Tibos, of course, that's the fastest lap from the beginning, but that's not a surprise considering it is lap 1. So on to lap number 2 now. We've got Kyle looking for potential move down into turn 1 on Jack Hickey. He looks to the inside. Is he going to get the move done? Gives him a little bit of a squeeze on the exit, but that's all fair, and Kyle gets the move done and puts himself up into P4. Meanwhile, side by side further back, we had Jake Davis, I think J-Luke. Yes, they are side by side through the S's. J-Luke picks himself up a penalty, but I think he's gained the position in the process.
Yeah, J-Luke getting ahead there through the S's. It's very hard to see cars racing around there. Got to be careful not to tap the back of J-Luke and the Red Bull JD. But yeah, disaster for Aiden, already in the pits after a scruffy first lap. Then he tagged the back of another car, picked up short front wing damage, and as a result has had to pit for new tyres and a new wing. Meanwhile, Corey, I said to watch out for him, has gained 5 places in this race already, so a fantastic start for him. Especially now all over the back of Matt Tibos, looking for a chance of an overtake here.
Yeah, Matt Tibos is fishing all over the back of him into this last sector now. Got this tight and twisty last sector. He needs to keep close to him and maybe potentially make a move down into turn 1. But yeah, actually we're saying Corey's made up great progress from the start of the field, and Aiden was the bit of debris we've seen going on in turn 1, I'm guessing then.
Yeah, I think so. A real shame for Aiden. This is the track he tends to like, but unfortunately for him, he will be now finding it hard to fight his way back through the field on those. I think he's gone for the medium tyres as Fishy picks up a time penalty, which is going to cost him in his race for the win with Matt Tibos.
Yes, it will indeed. Fishy all over the back of Matt Tibos now. DRS is enabled this time round as they start lap number 3. No DRS on this straight though for Machine Fishy to take advantage of, so I don't think he's going to be able to use it into turn 1. No, he won't. So he has to wait for the back straight between 11 and 12. Needs to keep close during the S's section. Meanwhile, we've got the 2 Hoffners battling over 9th and 10th. That's probably the closest battle on the track. And Corey is just sitting in behind as well.
Yeah, I've been keeping an eye on this. Corey just waiting for his opportunity, having gained 5 places on the opening lap. Found it a little bit harder to get through the 2 McLarens in the last couple of laps. You can see Con Hoffner and Lee Hoffner have really impressed this season. Both drivers running in the points at the moment, 9th and 10th. But Corey will want to get through very shortly. Lee Hoffner appearing to hold up his brother Con Hoffner here. Corey looking to get every bit of track he can to get through, but unfortunately the 2 McLarens racing ahead is causing his halt through the field.
Yeah, it is indeed. The 2 McLarens are getting very racy in front of him. It's going to be DRS for Con this time round, and Corey's going to get DRS, so maybe a little bit of a DRS train for him. Surely Con is going to get the advantage of his brother here. He's going to slide up the inside, get the move done.
Carl and Dan.
Can Corey get the move done? He's going to try and do both of them, and that's... Oh, I wouldn't have done that, Sunshine. And he's lost out to... Well, he's back where he was before.
Carl and Dan have been side by side for 4 continuous corners. This is brilliant racing. Dan the man for now, back ahead of Carl, the Williams driver. Carl went ahead, then Dan went ahead, then Carl back ahead, and now Dan back ahead into D3. These two have an almighty scrap for 3rd and 4th. Fantastic racing. While Corey was trying to get the 2 McLarens further up the field, his title rivals, Dan the man and Carl, fighting over 3rd and 4th. These two have been so close last lap. Dan the man appearing to struggle. Machine Fishy and Matt Tibbles are pulling away, but Kyle already all over the back of Dan the man. He needs to get big points here if Matt Tibbles is going to win the race. A glorious chance now into turn 1. Dan the man will cover that inside line. Kyle will go around the outside, try and sweep round. Dan the man tries to force him wide, and Kyle holds on just about the 2 of them, still side by side, not for the first. Dan the man ahead for now.
Well, Dan the man knows he needs to stay in front of Kyle and pick up as many points as he can. He's currently 48 points back in the championship standings going into tonight, and to have any sort of hope next week, he needs to be within 52 points of him to have any sort of hope of being champion come this time next week. Meanwhile, further down the field, I think Corey's still sitting behind, and we've got battles all over the field at the moment. Everyone is quite close together.
Yeah, I think Carl will have another chance here on Dan the man. DRS this time in use. Dan nowhere near Fishy to take use of his DRS. You can see Dan the man trying to go to the very far left of the circuit, not give Carl as much of a run as he can. But he's not quite close enough as Machine Fishy continues to harass Matt Tibbles in the lead.
Yeah, well, everyone else is pretty much going to stay line of sight. Maybe risky looking for a move on Corey further back. That being the battle for P11 and 12. No points there, unfortunately, in TGP1, but that would be in TGP2. As we see, the battles are brewing. And basically, looking at it, there is a little bit of a train actually forming behind Dan. The front 2 have kind of shot off to about 3.5 seconds. And I think Dan is a little bit of a cork in the bottle, but not a huge one at the moment.
I wonder if Kyle will come in for an earlier pit
lane, actually, just as we say that.
I was going to say, I wonder if any of these runners will come into the pit stops. I think that's actually good news for Kyle. He's probably going to do the opposite to what Dan did. Kyle seems to be a lot quicker than the Ferrari driver at the moment. Where will Dan come out? We might come out in traffic. He should be ahead of Ada, maybe behind Waze, so should be in clean air, I think. But yeah, a chance now for Kyle to set some good lap time and try and do the overcut on the Ferrari driver, because Kyle definitely seems to be more confident in his car at the moment in this stage of the race, as Matt Fishy still just 3 tenths on back of Matt Tibbles. Can he get a glorious chance to get through and take the lead on the next straight, Owen?
Yeah, he will do indeed. He's not going to be close enough to maybe have a sneaky move into turn 11 just before the DRS zone. I know that's I remember back in the day, that was one of my favourites, just try and surprise them with a move into turn 11, dive it up the inside, and then try and use the DRS, be behind at the detection line, and make it work from there. I don't think he's going to be quite close enough to have a move possibly into, well, it's a long straight actually, but I still don't think he'll go for it into turn 12 this time around. No, he's not quite close enough to actually realistically go for a move there, Dom.
So good to see Machine Fishy with us when he races. He's on some fine form. Great wins earlier in the season. I think both wet races they were around Italy and what was the other one? I think it was France. Two fantastic. Yeah, France I think it was. So Machine Fishy normally does good in the wet conditions, but so far here in the dry in the United States is looking quick. I suspect one of these runners might dive into the pits. I think if Matt doesn't, Machine Fishy will. Matt chooses to dive into the pit lane, he does. Yeah, so Fishy will stay out, but now what will Kyle do? Will he react to down the man? And Jay Luke, his teammate, can't come out behind both of them, and indeed he does into the pit lane.
Yeah, Jack Hickey's staying out, Jake Davis is in, Kong Hoffner stays out, La Hoffner is in. So, a little bit earlier than I was expecting, to be honest. I thought they were going to maybe start peeling in about lap 5 or 6, rather than 4 or 5. So it's a tiny bit early, but still probably doable to the end on the medium tyres.
Yeah, Wade's had a spin at the final corner. His tyres have completely gone. I thought for a second we were going to get a safety car or a DSC with them.
Dan's going to peel out. Kyle has jumped him.
Yeah, so Kyle has done the overcut. In fact, we said it might be possible. Seems to be a lot more confident on those tyres around this circuit down the man. I think now might just start to fall back. Kyle, this is glorious for him. He now needs Machine Fishy to come out ahead of Matt Tibbars, and he will only lose 3 points in the championship as things stand.
Yeah, he will indeed. But Dan the man, like I said, because he's 48 points back, he needs to be within that 52 to have any shot of winning the title next week. Of course, the way it works, you get 25 points for a win and a point extra for fastest lap. There'll be 2 races next week, and you need to be within 52 to have any shot of it. Do the fastest laps and both wins, and hope the other guy has a double DNF. Meanwhile, we're watching Dan the man getting closer and closer. Is he going to have a move down into the inside at turn 12? I don't think he's quite going to be close enough, Dom.
Joyville Manatee has leapt through his teammate Matt Tibbars. Renault getting their team orders out very clear. Do not hold up the title contender. Matt Tibbars crucially through, and that's crucial because Machine Fishy has just dived into the pit lane, as has Jack Hickey from second. I think everyone who's not pitted so far will now come into pit. So down the man almost spins it. Rosberg asked from, I think, what was it, 2015, 2014 maybe, and unfortunately, or fortunately for Dan, he just about kept hold of it, but has lost a bit of time. Machine Fishy, where will he come out in the pit lane?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see now. I've got to keep an eye on Kyle as he comes around the final corner. But Dan the man doing his best Nico Rosberg 2015 impression. Unfortunately for Rosberg, that was in the wet. Dan the man, not so lucky. That was in the dry. He's a bit of egg on his face for that one. Kyle has definitely jumped ahead of Jack Hickey. And is Dan the man? Dan the man can jump by the pair of them.
Joe Manatee has overtaken Machine Fishy, which is great news for Matt Tibbars. The 2 Renault drivers are now ahead of Machine Fishy, so I suspect Tibbars will be telling Joe Manatee to stay out and hold up that Alfa Romeo to give him a bit of a buffer, because Machine Fishy was looking very quick before the pit stops.
Yeah, he was indeed. Meanwhile, so Corey and Jovial Manatee are the only guys not to make a stop yet, but they started on the medium tyres, so they will be going long into this race, maybe pitting about lap 8 or 9, I reckon, Dom.
Yeah, just those 2 left to pit. Everyone on the mediums at the moment. We suspect Corey and Joe Manatee will go onto the soft tyres. Now a chance for Machine Fishy to pit one of the Renaults off. Once he gets past here, he's 3 seconds back from Matt Tibbars. Will Joe Manatee make him work for it? Machine Fishy pulls to the right. It's like Premier League against Championship, I think, here. Machine Fishy round the outside, takes the position, and can now start to hunt down Matt Tibbars again. Further back in the field, what have we got? We've got Jack Hickey. Now, also ahead of down the man, just 6 tenths back from Kyle. We've got Speed 9, just 4 tenths back of J. Luke. He's been right with him the last few laps. JD joining the fight, and Lee Hoffman and Kong Hoffner continuing their battle, but now both out the points. Yellow flag is out, sector flag. Will that be a safety car or a virtual safety car? Paul is out of this race, and it is a virtual safety car. So now Corey has just missed the pit lane. Corey's just gone round them. Oh no, he's managed to get back in. So maybe I'm not quite sure how he did that. Corey has chosen now to make his pit stop. Yeah, Roy does the same, but is it too soon?
I think they probably might be alright. They're going to be little bit worse for wear come the end of the race, but I think it's worth it for the track position for the time being. It's going to, of course, less time lost under a VSC pit stop compared to a normal safety car pit stop. So where are they going to come out? They're probably going to be about where they were before, actually, position-wise. Yes, they are. So about 12th and 13th, but they are going to be on the softer compound of tyre. So they're going to be racy once this race restarts, Dom.
Yeah, so teammates DNF. Sure Mercedes won't be too downed by Paul's retirement. Machine Fisher though, 4 seconds back from Matt Tibbles. Can he gain that time back in the next 6 laps? We're about to go racing any moment now, and there we go, we are racing again. So the drivers now resume their battle. Has anyone got close enough to the cars in front on the restart? JD, 3 tenths back from Speed United, made that 2 tenths. We look for a move into the next corner. He's very close. That Red Bull looking racy at the moment. He wants to get another top 5 finish if he can. At the moment, Dan the Man holding on to 5th place and looking like he's going to be out of the title fight as things stand. Speed United looking to defend from JD. Speed 9 also looking to attack J-Luke in front of him. What, will we see a move here into the next corner? I don't think we will. Everyone's just a bit too spaced out at the moment, I think.
Yeah, it is. He just quite, well, I think there's a bit of a DRS train. I think that's the best way of describing it at the moment. With Knighton, J-Luke, Dan the Man, basically third downwards, they're all kind of close enough, just about to get them DRS all off each other. 3rd to 8th, very close in this race. Corey has picked up another position. He's up into P11 and he's up into P10 actually. He's done a double move there, so fair play to Corey. Not sure quite how he done that, but he's up 2 positions in this race and puts himself into the points.
Yeah, fantastic move there from Corey, taking 2 places and now into the top 10. I think, unfortunately, like Dan, he might just be a little too far back to do anything about this championship going into the final week. I mean, it's a 4-way fight, but I think realistically it was always going to be Matt or Carl that won it going into this week. Those two, 22 points between them. That gap about to go down to, I think, 12, depending on who takes the fastest lap at the moment. But Corey and Dan, for now, are still in this fight, and I'm sure we'll still put up a good fight at Mexico next time out.
Yeah, I'm just having a look through now. Jake Davis all over the back of Knight, and I'm going to quickly look through and see who currently has the fastest lap of the race, Dom. So let's have a quick look at that.
Yeah, so of course the point is crucial, and Matt Tibbles does have that point at the moment, a 1:33.0, a 10th quicker than what Machine Fisher has done so far. But of course Corey now on the soft tyres should be able to find a bit more time and maybe take that point away from Matt Tibbles, which could be crucial come the end of the season. Speed 9, can he for now hold on to that 7th place from JD? JD looking more and more threatening in that Red Bull. Further ahead we've got other drivers fighting for position. Dan the Man just about fending off J-Luke at Speed 9. Again, just about far enough ahead to hold off the Red Bull of JD7.
Yes, we are indeed, but probably the closest battle at the moment on the track is basically the little train that is forming behind the Ferrari of Dan the Man. It's Dan the Man, J-Luke Knighton and Jake Davis. This could be getting from bad to worse for Dan the Man if any of this lot managed to get past him. More championship points lost to the 2 championship main contenders of Tibos and Kyle, and that is not what Dan the Man needs. Meanwhile, Corey is just trying to make a recovery drive of it. He's all over the back of Kong Hoffner now, and surely making a move possibly into turn 1.
There was a good little scrap further behind for 14th and 15th. No points in it, unfortunately, but Aiden has taken over Speed Iceman, and those two were side by side for a couple of corners. But this is a battle to focus on. The top 10, we've got 7th, 8th, 9th and 10th, separated by about less than a second. You can see Corey now on the left side of Kong Hoffner. Can he go through? Almost banging wheels to 2 cars. I think that time they did bang wheels. But Kong Hoffner just about holding on to P9 for now. This is a great scrap between these 4 cars.
Yeah, it is a great scrap indeed. And Kyle's round. Kyle's going round.
Corey's round.
Did he go round? I can't see on the camera.
Carl's still on the road, but Corey's round. Corey is round. The Mercedes driver.
Sorry, Corey. My bad. I'm doing a crofty there. Sorry about that. Corey has gone round. I couldn't see how he... I've just seen the tail end of that, and the camera angle wasn't showing where he actually went off to. But Corey is round, pushing too hard on those soft tyres. He just had set fastest lap, which has now been nicked off him by Aiden while he was spinning in a circle. So a bit of a disaster there for Corey. Not Carl, Corey.
Almost going for a move up the inside of JD, thought about it, getting very close. JD you can see all over the back of Speed 9. Speed 9 struggling to hold on to this position. P7 has been his for quite some time now, but unfortunately for him, those tyres just don't seem to be suiting this circuit at the moment. He's got Kong and JD all over the back of him. Got to say it was a clumsy move from Corey to go for that on the back of the McLaren, getting too close. Needed to lift off a little bit. As Dan the Man picks up the time penalty, I think his title hopes are now surely going to be over. Jack Hickey, interestingly, is sticking with Kyle. I said Jack Hickey was a shout for the win. Maybe not the win now, but he's looking good to maybe take 3 huge points away from Kyle, the championship leader.
Yeah, it is indeed. After this race, you have to be within 77 points, I believe, to still have a chance at the championship. So if you're still within that 77 points, you still have a very much an outside chance at the title. But mathematically, you have a chance. Realistically, it's not really on. As we see this battle that is for P7, we've also got Jack Hickey now all over the... getting closer and closer to the back of Kyle, and J-Luke all over the back of Dan the Man. So scraps up and down the field here at COTA.
Yeah, worth to note as well, Machine Fishy's picked up 6 seconds worth of time penalty, so Kyle could yet still take P2 and reduce that deficit that he would lose to Matt Tibos if Matt was to win this race in the championship fight. But still, 7th, 8th and 9th, Knighton, JD and Kong Hoffner fighting over these final points positions. In the background, Speed Risky is also caught up on the back of the McLaren. Lee Hoffner, can he take the final point in this race? But look at this, JD all over the back of Speed 9. He'll move to the left, uses that DRS, getting very close, almost to the left side of the track. In fact, on the left side of the track, and up the inside he goes. JD through, I think, but that's a very late braking move, and that's going to put Speed 9 back in front. Speed 9 back into P7, and now Kong's joining the fight too.
Yeah, I was watching on board. Jake Davis was all over the marbles thanks to being given the squeeze by Knighton, but that was fair though. Knighton gave him a car's whip, so that was completely fair racing. And Jake Davis on the marbles locked up, and that meant Knighton got the cut back on him and maintained position. And there's a yellow flag in sector 3. I think it is Risky. It is Risky who is round in the Haas. Meanwhile, this battle for P7 is continuing on. We've got a battle for P5. J. Luke is all over the back of Dan the Man. Is he going to maybe make a move into turn 1? I'm going to keep an eye on it, and no, not quite close enough this time round.
Williams have already secured the Constructors' Championship this season. What a fight it's been from Carl and J. Luke throughout this season to get that championship to Williams. What a fight it's been from those two. But Dan the Man fighting for his points finishes at Ferrari here. It's Renault versus Ferrari for second in the Constructors. Matt Tibos and Joe Manatee against Dan the Man and Speed Iceman. At the moment, it appears to be Ferrari who are losing out at the moment. Matt Tibos going to score 26 as things stand. Roy just missing out on the points, but suspect him to give a last push to Lee Hoffner, and he now closes in on the back of that McLaren driver. But yeah, Dan the Man just about holding on to P5 for now. Kyle just about holding on to P3, and still that three-way fight for P7 continues.
Yeah, the three-way fight for P7 continues. Just a quick reminder, Matt Tibos would make a gap, cut down the championship lead as it stands by 10 points, so it would be a 12-point gap going into 3 rounds to go. If my maths is correct, we know my maths can be a bit dodgy at times. Meanwhile, JD couldn't quite get the move done, but J. Luke is all over the back of Dan the Man. Is he going to have a move possibly into this tight and twisty section, Dom?
Well, Kyle has been passed by Jack Hickey for P3. Crucial move for the championship. I just saw the end of it. And now Dan the Man is just about holding on to J. Luke. So both Williams drivers moving positions here as we start the penultimate lap. Matt Tibos just has 2 more laps to negotiate. Machine Fishy has cruised up to the back of him, 1.5 the gap. Can Kyle fight back and take back P3 from Jack Hickey? I think he's a bit too far back. In the background, you'll see also Dan the Man fending off his dear life to take P5. But as things stand, Kyle is going to lose out hugely to Matt Tibos. I don't think Jack Hickey has any time penalties.
Yes, and that would make the gap down to 9 points at the top of the championship. Kyle losing out on 13 points on Matt Tibos as it stands on the road. So there'll be a 9-point lead in Kyle's favour, and he's picked up a time penalty as well.
That's not what he needed. Dan the Man could jump him yet. This is not what Kyle needs. He's starting to throw away this championship. He's had a grasp on it for so long this season. The last 9 weeks he's had a fantastic performance as JD gets very close to the back of Speed Knighton. Continue this three-way fight. Joe Malanthe also is fighting the Corey now for that final point with Lee Hoffner. But yeah, Kyle is about to lose a huge amount of points here. We'll have to wait for the end of the race to find out how many points it is. But yeah, not what he needed as JD now has a glorious chance to pass down to P5.
Yeah, like I said, on the road as it stands, it would be a 9-point championship gap in favour of Kyle. Meanwhile, we've got Jake Davis in this battle, never-ending battle for P7. Is he going to finally get a move done this time round? Lock up on the inside, a bit of contact on the back of him from Knight in the AlphaTauri, and the Red Bull going to be side by side. J. Lucas, I think, got the move done on Dan the Man this time round as well.
Yeah, this is the fight for the championship. Dan the Man has lost the place to J. Luke. J. Luke crucially getting ahead of Dan the Man. He's helped out his teammate. His teammate Carl may have lost out to Hickey, but J. Luke outscoring Dan the Man will at least give something back to the Williams driver. Can he now fight back and take back that P3 on the final lap of this race? Very close now between 3rd and 4th. Let's stick with this. Into turn 1. Will we see him move? I think a bit too far back, unfortunately, but he should have a glorious chance on the next DRS straight, surely.
Yeah, meanwhile, I'm watching Kong Hoffner in the battle for P8 and 9 now. Knight in back of the Red Bull. They're going to be side by side round turn 1. I think Knighton's just about going to hold on the traction on the exit this time round. Kyle all over the back of Jack Hickey. Dan the Man, I think, has dropped back a bit from J. Luke, so I think that one's kind of off for this final lap. But the main 2 battles is the battle for P8 and P9 and the battle for P3 and P4.
P10, P11 and P12. We need picture and picture and picture. This is fantastic stuff. We've got Corey, a 10th behind Jovial Manatee, trying to get through, trying to squirm his way through, can't quite find the space to do so. Jovial Manatee himself trying to claw up to the back, and that McLaren Ferrari, as I said, battles throughout this field. 19 trying to claw in on JD, and Kyle crucially trying to get past Jack Hickey for 3rd place.
Yeah, well, he's closing, heading up down the back straight in towards turn number 12. Jack Hickey's just got enough. Unless he tries something daring now, Kyle, I think Jack Hickey might have the position done. I think Jack Hickey is going to finish P3 in this race, barring penalties. Knighton all over the back of Jake Davis, Kong Hoffner as well. And it's all getting very spicy. Corey's going to try and look to the outside of Jovial Manatee. It's going to be side by side. Oh. They go through this section. This is not even points paying positions. Need to go further up the field though, because Matt Tibbles has crossed the line to win the US Grand Prix. Machine Fishy is going to come home in 2nd. Jack Hickey holds on to 3rd place ahead of Kyle. Then we've got J Luke in 5th. Dan the Man in 6th. And Jake Davis is going to hold on in that battle for P7, 8 and 9 for that. Hoffner holds on to the final points paying position over Corey. And he picks up more positions thanks to penalties as well. So that's how it goes. So Jake Davis actually finishes 10th despite winning that massive scrap for P7 on the road. Jovial Manatee, I'm guessing, had no penalties and has managed to get himself a P7 finish. And Kyle picked, and the gap comes down after penalties to 9 points in Kyle. Kyle has a championship lead of 9 points as it stands, going with 3 races to go.
A 4th win in a row, a 37th career victory for Matt Tibbles. He is really setting the end of this season alight, isn't he? An 8-second gap it was in the end over Machine Fishy, thanks to Fishy's time penalties that he was carrying. And look at that, Kyle down in P4, not what he needed. A huge points lost in his fight for the championship. Fastest lap, I think, went to, it was speed risky in the end, so no one gets that point. As you said, the gap now down to 9 points between the top 2 with 3 races to go. This is brilliant stuff.
Yeah, the title fight is definitely hotting up in this TGP1 Championship. Jovial Manatee gets driver of the day, and that's fair play to him. Had a very sensible drive and picked up points in P7 with the alternate strategy. As we see Matt Tibos, the other Renault driver, stepping onto the podium here at Kota. 4 wins on the bounce, like you mentioned there, Dom. And that is a great performance from him. Machine Fishy picking up 2nd place. Jack Hickey, another podium for him this season, I believe. And picking up a 3rd place for the Racing Point team. As we get the results coming up any second now. So full rundown of the results. Of course, as normal, penalties have indicated and changed the results. Matt Tibos wins the race from Machine Fishy and Jack Hickey in 3rd. Kyle in 4th place, the championship leader, and the gap is now down to 9 points, like we've mentioned a couple of times. Dan the Man in 5th position, not what he needed, behind the championship leader. J Luke in 6th, Jovial Manatee in 7th, Kong Hoffner in 8th, Lee Hoffner in 9th, and JD rounding out the points in 10th. Knighton in 11th, Corey, no points for him today, and I think that's pretty much his title hopes down the drain now. As we see Aiden in 13th, Risky in 14th, and we have then Iceman in 15th, Waze in 16th, and the only DNF of the race, Paul McGee in the Mercedes. But yeah, Corey's title hopes are pretty much done now. Dan's are very much mathematical at this point, rather than realistic, but it's getting very spicy between the top 2, Dom.
It is 9 points, the gap between those 2, Matt Tibbles and Kyle. Kyle's only won 2 races all season. He needs to start winning some more if he wants to claim that 1st career driver's title. Otherwise, Matt Tibbles looking very good to make it a 2nd title in the top tier. So the top 4 now are separated by 64 points. As you said, Corey a bit further back, didn't score anything in the United States, which I think pretty much ends his hopes of a possible title. So Kyle leads the way still for now, 255. Matt Tibbles 9 points back. Dan 50 back, and Corey 64 behind. So it is a fight between the top 4 still, but it does look like it's realistically just between Kyle and Matt. And interestingly, it appears to be the faster driver that's behind in the championship, so the gap gets smaller and smaller. And now we are ready for the next race here. It's going to be the Mexican Grand Prix. So do stick with us here. This is some fantastic racing we've seen throughout the season. We need a picture and picture and picture there at the end. Battles throughout the field. But in the end, it was Matt Tibbles who took a 4th win in a row. He has set some fantastic form in the second half of this season. And Kyle just can't seem to get a break at the moment. He's had 1 podium finish in the last 7 races. That is not the form of a champion. So I think Kyle needs to find that form that he had at the start of the year. He's still in that fight for the top places, but unfortunately for him, just seems to be outside the podium places, and inevitably that is going to cost you in a championship fight. But still, 3 races to go. Still, Kyle leads the championship by 9 points. So he's still, for now, can hold on. Maybe try and take a refresh. Take his mind off things and go again for Mexico, Brazil and Abu Dhabi. Do join us next week for the title decider around Brazil and Abu Dhabi. Commentary from Mike Noon. Mike Noon is back. The critically acclaimed former TGP2 commentator will be back in the box, replacing Owen, who cannot make it next week. And yeah, of course, join us tomorrow for the TGP2 title decider, Brazil and Abu Dhabi, where we've got Owen and, of course, Alistair fighting for that top prize. So we're just waiting now for the drivers to begin this qualifying session. We'll have 18 minutes of qualifying around Mexico, followed by, of course, another 25% race. A couple of comments on Twitter and YouTube. Do feel free to shout something if you want a question answered or have any support for the drivers on Twitter. We've been asked the question, where does Matt rank in the all-time top 10 winners list? Matt Tibbs now with 37 wins is just 1 behind Dino Courtney. Dino Courtney sits 6th on that list, so Matt Tibbs now 1 behind a top 6 place. Courtney in 7th. But yeah, a fantastic win for him, and I won't be surprised if he makes it 38 in about half an hour's time. Another question, is J-Luke in this title fight? J-Luke, unfortunately, I think might just be out of it. I think the gap needed to be less than 78 to be in the fight. J-Luke going into tonight was unfortunately a bit too far back. The gap was, I believe, about 68 points. So J-Luke might just be in the title fight. I think it's a very big stretch if he is to win it. He might even overtake Corey and Dan in this race, but I think J-Luke is just too far back in this championship. The gap about 72 points, I believe. And of course, there's only 77 or 78 available for the drivers. Will we get a dry qualifying? Will we get a mixed condition qualifying? Will we get a full wet qualifying? We're about to find out. The skies look grey, but it does appear that for now, we will see a dry running here at Mexico qualifying. A good indication as to if we're going to expect rain towards the end of the session. The drivers normally get out the garages straight away, but already 30 seconds into this session, no one is leaving the pit lane. So I don't suspect we will see any rain in the next 20 minutes. It appears we are going to get a full dry running. No drivers have chosen to left the pits yet, doing their setups, picking their tyres for their runs. Will they go out and do medium run? Will they go straight onto softs? But no major rush from the drivers here. So just a reminder of the championship standings going into these final 3 races. Kyle leads the way, 255 points. 9 points clear now of Matt Tibbs, who has won the last 4 races in a row. So he is catching up in that fight for the championship. You can see now the first cars leaving the pit lane. We've got Machine Fishy going out there for Alfa Romeo. We've also got the Mercedes about to let J-Luke and Kyle through. We've got the Red Bull of JD out, and you can see all the drivers now. Pretty much all of them are coming out onto the track to set their first laps. But the fight for the championship, Kyle 255, Matt 246, 9 behind. Dan the Man is 50 points back. He needs a really strong result here. He also needs, I think, Matt and Carl to have a bit of a disaster. Maybe pick up a few incidents in this race for Dan to really get himself back in that title fight. Now, Dan's ask is already hard enough. Well, unfortunately, I think Corey is just about out of it. Corey needs something special. He is 64 points behind. I do not think that Corey is going to be defending his title this season. He was champion last season. He won 2. In fact, he won both of the first 2 races this season. It seemed like he was going to make it 2 on the bounce, but ever since that first week, Corey has yet to pick up a race win. Came very close at Silverstone. Just missed out on that top prize because of a late time penalty. But unfortunately for Corey, has not found that form since the opening week where he won both of the first 2 races. Softy's pointers are coming in. What does Softy think will be the qualifying pole time around this Mexico circuit? Before I hear from Softy, here's a few things that I suspect Softy is going to predict in this qualifying session, as we see a few cars are really close together in that final sector. I'm not sure what's going on here, but there's about 5 cars. We've got a Ferrari, a couple of Williams, a Mercedes, a Haas, and an AlphaTauri, all very close in the third sector. This is a bit weird. Dan and Man is disconnected. I think maybe Dan's disconnection caused the confusion there. Dan and Man needs to get back in quickly, but yeah, a lot of drivers starting their runs. Maybe they all want that toe. Maybe the toe is that significant around here that they're having to get close to the cars in front. Kyle has left the session as well. That's 2 title contenders who've disconnected from the lobby. What's going on? Well, let's hope. Now, we've still got drivers setting their first. This Mexico circuit. Dan the Man and Kyle will have enough time to get back into this session, hopefully. But what a dramatic start to qualifying. I suspect some sort of internet issues around their area. Let's hope they too both get back in. Dan the Man is currently trying to rejoin, I believe, as is Kyle. But drivers who have currently set a lap time, Machine Fishy first across the line, a 1:14.4. Who's next? We turn attentions to, I think, Speed Iceman. He has invalidated his lap time. He'll be coming straight back into the pit lane. So what about J-Luke, currently looking to get his very, very slim title hopes kick-started here at Mexico around the final corner? What can he do on the soft tyres? He's going down to the pit lane. He's not got very close to the curb. He goes second with a 1:14.7. Risky behind a 1:14.8. So just 4 tenths between the top 3 at the moment. Matt Tibbles, I suspect, is going to smash that in just a few moments' time. Jovial Manatee goes into second place at 1:14.6. Just 2 tenths back from the pace so far of the Alfa Romeo. Matt Tibbles, is he starting or finishing a lap? I think he might just be finishing one. A 1:14.4 is the time to beat then from Machine Fishy in the Alfa Romeo. Matt Tibbles crosses the line and only goes second. So the Renault's currently second and third. A good start from them. And it is just now, I think, Aidan Griffiths and Corey who are yet to finish lap times. Corey will be going into the pit lane, so he must have invalidated, has he? No, he does continue. And he doesn't improve. So I think, yeah, maybe he had a mistake there. Aidan Griffiths into P9. Sorry, P7. My graphics are all over the place here. It says P9 on my screen, but he can't be because there's only 7 drivers who have set laps. Kyle back in the session. Dan the Man also back in. So good to see those 2 now back in the lobby. They will still have time to set some laps. Speed Risky will not be set anymore. He is out of qualifying. So, a dry race we are hearing, as well as this dry qualifying session. The championship's already close enough, I think, so we do not need rain to intervene here. The Mercedes of Corey crosses the line and goes P7. The other Mercedes of Paul McGee is off and round in the middle sector. Is he going to DNF it? He's spun round in that tricky section, and unfortunately for him, he's ruined his lap. But unfortunately, it has not ruined his session. He can still get more laps in with P17 last time out at the United States. So that's not the ideal start to qualifying for him. He'll be back into the pits for new tyres on the medium runners anyway, so he probably won't have set a really good time with this set of tyres anyway. Who is out there at the moment? Jack Hickey is on a quick lap, but unfortunately for him, he has invalidated, so he will not be improving, and he dives into the pit lane. We suspect Speed Iceman is about to start a lap. Also out there at the moment, we've got Speed Knighton about to start his lap. So a lot of drivers then only starting their laps. JD also the same. So drivers then, at the moment, Machine Fishy with that pole time of 1:14.4, but it is really close behind him. 4 tenths back is Speed Risky in 6th place, already out of qualifying. Thanks to an early DNF, not quite sure what's happened to him. If you're missing Owen, well, if you're not missing Owen, then let's hope he's not back anytime soon. 10 minutes still to go in this session. We're about to see some new lap times. Kyle, now back in this session, is on an out lap. Dan the man struggling still seemingly to get out there. And you can see that Kyle might just get a slipstream there from Aidan Griffin. Aidan Griffin did not want to give him any sort of advantage, just immediately stopped on the circuit. So not to give an advantage, but for Kyle, he does have his teammate just a couple of corners ahead. So we could see a slipstream here for the Williams drivers indeed. So not to cause an issue, and it's a purple sector 1 for Kyle. So a very good time so far, but he's invalidated it. So all his hard work in the first sector is undone, and suddenly the pressure is on with 9 minutes to go in this session. He is yet to set a lap time, whilst Matt Tibbos is P2. So who else is out there at the moment? Kyle, of course, his lap time is done. Speed Knighton is P7 at the moment. I think he is starting another timed lap. Machine Fishy is on a quick lap. Let's see if Machine Fishy can improve on that 1:14.4 that he's set so far. The first sector, I think, was pretty much identical. So if he can get the second and third sectors right, he might still pull a little further clear of Matt Tibbos. But Machine Fishy, great to see him at the front and potentially affecting this title race. He took points off Kyle in the last one. Couldn't quite get close enough to beat Matt Tibbos around the United States. Yellow flag in the middle sector, nothing to worry about. The drivers can complete their lap times. Machine Fishy still looking quick in this Alfa Romeo. 1:14.4, his own time to beat, and he's invalidated it at the penultimate corner. So easy to do around here. We're going to see a few penalties, I think, in the race. Matt Tibbos is now on another lap. What can he do about the time of Machine Fishy so far? We've also got J-Luke behind him on a lap. Dan the man finally getting out of the pits, and will be starting his lap in a couple of minutes' time, but the pressure is on. Already it was hard enough. Now he's got to set 1 or 2 final laps in this session. Matt Tibbos is a 10th quicker in the first sector on his own lap. He only needs a 10th and a half to outplace Machine Fishy for P1. Joe Manatee will be very happy to be in P3 at the moment. That's a fantastic performance from the second Renault driver. Scoring points for the Renault team. Renault are now second in the Constructors' Championship, overtaking Ferrari. Ferrari having a bit of a miserable night so far. And Matt Tibbos is now 2.5 tenths up on his previous best. So if he can just get it twisty, nice and smooth through these last couple of corners, this is the really tricky section. So easy to cut a corner and ruin your lap time. But Matt Tibbos is looking quick, he's looking clean round the final corner. Can he improve on that 1:14.4 from Machine Fishy? Inside, hooks the curb, crosses the line. Where does he go? P1, a 1:14.195, the new benchmark to beat from Matt Tibbos in the Renault. And he does not want to give his rivals any sort of tow. You can see Dan the man flying past now, about to start his first time lap of the session. What can he do? Him and Kyle both yet to set lap times in this session. They're going to need to set a quick one, and it's going to need to be trouble-free. Well, he just set slow bankers. Well, not slow bankers, but, you know, get round there, set a lap, not invalidate it, and then go all out for the next run. The two Mercedes drivers of Paul and Corey are coming into the pit lane, I believe. Corey goes quickest with a 1:14.0. So my eyes are deceiving me. Corey sets the new quickest time of 1:14.0. I saw a Mercedes pitting into the pit lane, and that was Paul McGee. So my eyes got confused when I see a Mercedes coming in, then a Mercedes going quickest. So attention's now turned to the other drivers. J-Luke in P3 in that Williams. A very good qualifying for him so far, but it's the wrong Williams at the front. I don't think Claire Williams, or whoever the fuck runs that team now, will be best pleased to see the wrong driver at the front at the moment. Joe Manatee is on another lap. We've got the racing point of Aidan Griffins on a slow one, coming into the pit lane. Dan the man will be next across the line in that Ferrari, currently yet to set a lap time. And Dan the man dives into the pit, so this is not good for him. He's going to have 6 minutes of the session remaining, and he is yet to set a lap time in this session. Joe Manatee is a 10th quicker. Who else is out there on laps at the moment? We have got, I think, the other Ferrari Speed Iceman just about to start his lap. So it is Joe Manatee we keep our eyes on. Currently P5, and currently invalidated. He's lost it in the middle sector. He will not be improving, and that, I think, is all the drivers for now. He could have improved, but will not be. So Art Kyle 22 has set a purple middle sector. What can he do here in the Williams? The championship leader, a gap of just 9 points. He needs a huge qualifying here. He'll be happy to see that Corey currently leads Matt Tibbles. If Kyle doesn't win the race, he'll at least want one of the other rivals to outscore the Renault driver. Kyle crosses line. Where does he go? P5. That's not where he wants to be. He's only the third row of the grid at the moment, and with 5 minutes to go, he's got it all to do to try and get a little further up the field and get in amongst that fight with Matt Tibbles, who currently himself is only second. Matt Tibbles has been the master of qualifying so far this season. Seems to get poles a lot lately. He's had, I think, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 poles in the last 7 races. Only Aidan Griffin's managed to outdo him back in Russia. So then, Kyle will quickly get back to the pit lane and get one more timed lap in. Speed Iceman and Waste Kuba were on laps, but are both invalidated and really finding it hard here in Mexico. In fact, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 drivers who haven't set laps yet. Proving how easy it is to cut a corner here. A high 1 minute 13 or a low 1 minute 14 is the pole time that Softy suspects we will see here at qualifying, and that is exactly what we're seeing at the moment. A 1:14.0 for Corey, but Softy believes that Matt or Corey himself, maybe even Fishy, Kyle or J-Luke, could find a tenth or two and go even quicker. Kong Hoffner, currently P15 in the McLaren, yet to set a lap time. He will want to be setting a good one here. The first sector is pretty clean. It's a 28.1. That doesn't quite challenge those ahead of him, but it does put him around a similar pace of Aidan Griffin and Lee Hoffner, so suspect this to be around 7th or 8th if he continues in the current pace he is in the first sector. Just under 4 minutes to go now in this qualifying session. It is currently Corey who leads the way, a 1:14.9, a 10th clear of his rival Matt Tibbles, the defending champion, at least showing some sort of pace, even though he probably is out of this title fight. Dan the Man, what can he do? Currently in P13, I think is about to start his final lap in this session. So lots of drivers then on laps now, or about to start laps in the closing part of qualifying. Kong Hoffner, last couple of corners. What can he do with that? McLaren needs to get into that top 10 ideally. It's been a scruffy final sector for the McLaren driver. The TGP2 reigning champion goes into P11, the last of the runners so far, 1:16.1, so that is not a time that's going to be putting him anywhere near the fights of the others. But Dan the Man, what can he do now, Owen? Currently P14, needs a good lap time here if he still plays Corey and Matt Tibbles.
Yeah, he does indeed. Coming into the stadium section now on this flying lap, he's got a purple in first and second sector I've seen, but that's only on what he's previously done, which is non-existent. As he comes onto the Peril Garda, what's he going to do? Crosses the line, goes pole.
What a lap time from Dan the Man, a 1:13.7. Oh boy, that was good. Now, what can Corey, Matt Tibbles, Jack Hickey, J-Luke and Aidan do to respond? Can Machine Fishy, as J-Luke has lost it in the middle sector, is he going to get it out the wall? He's hit the wall. He's lost his front wing, but he is still in this session. Whether or not he's got time to get back to the pit lane or not to get one more final run, it's going to be tight. But that is J-Luke's qualifying, I think, possibly done. He's got front wing damage, not what he needed.
No, not what he needed until meanwhile everyone else is, well, it's very congested at the end of at the start of the second sector. Everyone's just sort of backing off, trying to keep out of everyone's way, and it's very congested in that section of the track currently. Got Kyle, he's also on and out lap. Everyone's just trying to keep out the way of each other and not really sure who's on flying laps or not.
Well, Dan the Man will be very happy with that, a 1:13.7. I suspect that is him done for qualifying, so now it's down to us. What can they do in this session? Corey is on and out lap. He's about to start his final lap in this session. Matt Tibbles, I think, is still on the pit lane, so he's even going to go out again. He's got to be quick. He is now leaving the pit lane, I believe.
Sorry about that.
Yes. So we've got Matt Tibbles just leaving the pit lane. Corey about to start his lap time soon. Kyle is now starting his final time. This is the crucial part of his season. 3 races to go. 9-point gap. He leads at the moment in the championship. At the moment he's starting P8. That is not where he needs to be. That'll be 4 points in the race if he finishes there. So this must be a huge lap for him.
Yeah, it must be indeed. Coming into turns 1, 2 and 3 now. the tricky chicane section leading on to the second back straight of this circuit. DRS is wide open on the Williams. What's his time going to be in that first sector? He's currently a 10.5 up on his previous best, which would only put him maybe 2 positions up the road. So it's not what he needs for the time being as he goes through turn number 6, heading towards turn number 7 now, and into the SE section on the circuit. The fast flicks, they get progressively faster as you go through them, kind of the opposite of some of the other SEs on the calendar, where they get faster, they get slower and slower. This one gets faster and faster. Entering towards the stadium now. He's currently 2.5 tenths up on his previous best. Got a bit of traffic in this sector now. Hopefully they keep out the way. Looks like they have. He's got one more corner to go through turn number 16, round the Perotada. What's his lap time going to be? And he puts himself up into P3.
What about Corey? Corey around the final corner, can he improve? 1:13.9, he does improve, but not quite good enough to displace Dan the Man. He's 2 tenths back. That is some lap from Dan the Man to currently be quick, as Matt Tibbos is now starting his lap. Joe Manatee is finishing his, currently in P11, but he hasn't validated, and that will not be another lap time for him in this session. So who left is out there to set lap time? Speed 9 is half a second up.
Half a second up on his best.
Speed 9, half a second up with this final sector to negotiate. Can he get himself in that top 10? Well, he wants to be in the top 10. Tyre wear is pretty bad round here, so you might want to start on the fresher tyres come race day, but at the same time you want to be higher up on the grid to be in that position and out of trouble. Speed 9, round the final corner. Can he improve into that top 10? He does. He goes P9, so now tensions turn 2. I think Matt Tibbos. Matt Tibbos in the validated.
Yeah,
so he starts P4 behind his championship rivals. Dan the Man P1, Corey P2, Carl P3 and Matt P4. It's the top 4 in the championship starting in that top 4. But Dan the Man, a crucial qualifying for him, and Corey also crucially ahead of his 2 championship contenders, Kyle and Matt Tibbos.
Yeah, he is indeed. So
sorry, Machine Fishy. It's 4 tenths up. This could yet be the pole time. Let's not get too excited yet. Machine Fishy could displace those ahead of him. What can he do? Can he get in that mix of the top 4, crosses the line, goes second. Just about misses out on pole position from Dan the Man. Dan the Man takes pole, but that puts Kyle and Matt Tibbos, the 2 title contenders, down to P4 and P5 respectively.
Yeah, that does indeed. I think that's it for everyone on flying laps. Maybe Iceman's on a flying lap. His car's definitely pushing if he is on a flying lap. So coming through the middle sector now. He's currently last in the field. Is he going to go any further up the field? What's his middle sector going to be? It's a 55.6. He comes through into the stadium section now, down towards second gear. This tight, twisty, awkward section in the stadium. A massive slide and he clouts the curb through 14. Round the Perotada. And what's his lap time going to be? I reckon it'll be in the 14 somewhere, and it is. He goes P11.
Just outside the top 10, that's exactly where you want to start if you're in that midfield fight, isn't it? You get a fresh set of tyres for the race and you still start quite high up in P11. So crucially, taking that place on the 6th row of the grid. But Dan the Man, an 80th career pole position in TGP1. What a lap time it is from him, a 1:13.7. Machine Fishy came so close to taking it from him, but just misses out by 4/100ths of a second. Corey's in P3, and as I said, Kyle and Matt Tibbos will be starting 4th and 5th. A good qualifying from Jack Hickey again in P6, and J-Luke will be disappointed to be down in 7th after that costly mistake towards the end of the session.
Yeah, he will be indeed. So that is it. So we've got all four of the title contenders mathematically in the top 5, and Machine Fishy is managed to plonk himself on the front row and interrupt that party of title contenders up the front, Dom.
Yeah, fantastic stuff. I'm very surprised to see Matt Tibbos only qualifying P5. He's had, what, 5-6 poles from the last 7 races, and for some reason in Mexico, it's a track he doesn't like. He said that before tonight, and he does go P5, so he'll be disappointed with that. But Dan the Man, there's the lap time, a 1:13.7. A quick rundown then of the grid. We've got Dan the Man and Machine Fishy on the front row. Corey and Kyle starting behind them. Matt Tibbos, only P5. Jack Hickey will be happy with 6. J-Luke and Aiden on the 4th row, 7th and 8th. Knighton and JD in that top 10, 9th and 10th. Iceman and Paul, Jovel Manatee and Lee Hoffner, and then behind them is the final runners of Speed Risky, Kong Hoffner and Waze 77.
Yeah, so looking for an interesting race here in Mexico. It's currently 9 points the gap between the top 2 in the championship, and they start 4th and 5th, Kyle and Matt Tibbos. Kyle has the upper hand in qualifying, but is Matt Tibbos going to make even more inroads into that title? Will Dan the Man just be going up the front, going all guns blazing and hoping the other two maybe have an accident to have any chance of the title coming into next week?
Well, let's say Dan's second pole position of the season. The last pole came at Canada, which he won. So let's keep an eye on him. But it is a dry race here. We are not expecting any rain in the next half an hour. This is the third to last round of the season. And we have an almighty four-way fight for the championship. And it's currently third and fourth in the championship that are on that front few places. And Kyle, who leads the championship, crucially only fourth with Matt Tibos, his closest rival, 9 points back in P5. So we're just moments away now from the Mexican Grand Prix. And this should be a real thriller.
Yeah, getting ready to go around the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez in Mexico City. Round this 2.6 mile circuit, 4.3 kilometers, 18 laps is the race distance for today. So getting ready to go here in Mexico. The lights are coming on any second now. Just waiting for the guys to load in. Any second now. There they are. 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights here in Mexico. Lights out, and away we go, and it's a very strong start from Dan the Man, better than his USA start than last race. Machine Fishy is going to be side by side with him, and everyone else behind is going to be looking for the toe. Corey's looking for the toe in Machine Fishy, but Dan the Man and Machine Fishy are going to be side by side heading into turn 1. Corey's going to stick it on the inside maybe. Fishy side by side, Dan the Man's going to try and hang on around the outside, keeps the position and keeps the lead of the race through the first couple of corners. There's a McLaren off in the background there. I think it's Le Hoffner. Yes, it is. And it's all chaos behind. There's a Mercedes off. There's a McLaren off. I'm not sure what's happening there, Dom.
Yeah, Corey lost it in the first sector. He spun round, and unfortunately the car behind tried their best to avoid him. That's Corey out of this race. The two Mercedes drivers are now at the back of the grid. That's the scruffiest start to the race we've seen all season. Not quite sure what was going on there. Different battles throughout the field, but yeah, that is a virtual safety car then on the first lap of this race. Both Mercedes at the back end of this grid, as are both McLarens, so those 4 cars will not be best pleased with their start. But keep an eye on the front. It's a long run down to turn 1, isn't it? Dan the Man just about held off Machine Fishy. Kyle down to 5th actually, and J. Luke has overtaken him, so will he just part the way later on in the race? But Matt Tibble crucially into P3, outscoring his championship contender Kyle.
Yeah, we've seen it before on the run down to turn 1 out Mexico as the race goes back under green. Definitely seen it before at F1 2016. Massive accident. 4-car pile-up before they even got to turn 1. It was basically an airplane crash as they come through the Perotada. Dan the Man is going to lead lap 1. Machine Fish is going to be second. Matt Tibos in third and J. Luke in fourth. Kyle's actually slightly behind, but the top 6 are pretty much all together. Jack Hickey maybe looking at a move, possibly for, well, Aiden's all over the back of him, I think. No, Jack Hickey's all, I don't know where it looked on. I'm getting all tongue-tied. Jack Hickey's going to get the move done on Jake Davis. He's up into P6. Aiden was looking under mountains of pressure there. He's got 4 cars all over his arse, and he don't know what to do about it. Machine Fishy is side by side with Dan the Man, going into the end of the first sector, and I think Dan the Man's just about going to hold on through these couple of corners. Machine Fishing maybe looking at a move up the inside through turn 6, thinks better of it and maintains the position. Dan is in the lead, Fishy in second, Tibos in third.
Wow, just try and get our breath back. What a crazy result. His race. Dan the Man almost loses the back end of his stride. He's got to be careful. He's done all the hard work of staying in front on the first lap. Now he needs to just fend off Machine 50, taking that pressure and try and keep out in front. He's a 4-time champion for a reason. He's been here before, but he's got Machine 50, Matt Taylor all over the back of him. In fact, look at that. The top 5 less than a second and a half between them all. Fantastic racing here.
Top 5 pretty much nose to tail. Jack Hickey's not too far behind either. Saves Jake Davis. Pretty much everyone's line astern still at the end of lap number 2. Dan the Man is going to be basically a sitting duck down this straight this time round. The long straight, and you don't want to be at the front of it. Machine 50 just set the fastest lap of the race now. No DRS yet here at the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. This time round, DRS will be enabled next time as they come across DRS points. So none down the main straight. Machine Fishy is up the inside. Dan the Man's just going to hold on for the time being as we've got to go on board with Matt Tibos now. We're going to watch him sit behind. Machine Fishy still doesn't have DRS this time. They're going to be side by side heading into turn number 4 on this track. Is Machine Fishy going to try and hang it around the outside? Yes, he is. It's side by side, wheel to wheel. Still going to be side by side heading towards turn 6. Fishy's going to try and keep it up the inside. It's going to give Dan the Man the squeeze on the exit, and they're going to go side by side into turn 7. This could end disastrously. They're going to give each other more of a squeeze, then wheel to wheel, a squeeze in, and Dan stayed in front. There's a little bit of lag going on there, but Dan has just about kept the position over Machine Fishy, but side by side through that section. That's brave stuff, boys.
Well, you're wrong again, Owen. You've got to have some faith in these drivers. Fantastic race and no incident, as I expect them not to be.
Oh, Dan's got a 5-second penalty.
Look at this top 5 at the moment, and is that a safety car? No, Jack Hickey went really slow all of a sudden for some reason, but the top 5 separated by about a second and a half. Look how close they are. Will anyone down the pit lane and try and go for some sort of undercut? Probably too early here around Mexico, where tyre wear is pretty severe. But look at this, we've got Machine Fishy all over the back of down the man. Matt Tibbles looking to join that fight too. J. Luke and Williams looking to get rated well. Down the man defends that right side. Machine Fishy this time will go ahead for now. But will he be ahead after turn 1? Dan the man will break a little later if he tries to, but can't quite get it stopped in time. And Machine Fishy, crucially, now into the lead of this race. Dan the man down a second, and Matt Taylor's all over the back of him.
Yeah, Fishy into the lead, had the DRS this time round. DRS has been enabled. Machine Fishy weaving down the straight to try and stop Dan the man, picking up the toe. Matt Tibos is having a look down the inside. And J. Luke sweeps round the outside of Matt Tibos as he was looking for the inside of Dan and gets the position. He's puts himself up into P3 and Matt Tibos has lost out there. Kyle all over the back of him, still gaining on his title rival, Matt Tibos, but it's very much line astern. The top 7 are pretty much nose to tail in this race. And what I was saying there is Dan the man's picked up a 5-second penalty for gaining the position and corner cutting while being off the circuit. So that might be decided in the steward's room afterwards.
Well, Dan's probably going to have to serve that in the pit lane, so I don't think he'll be getting that removed, unfortunately. J-Lu, what a move round the outside of Matt Tibbles. And Matt Tibbles is going to take the place off Dan the man, but in the end, out of nowhere, J-Lu swoops round the outside and takes the Renault place into P3, and now looking very racy behind Dan the man. The challenging contenders are 4th and 5th at the moment. Carl would lose 2 points to the back of Matt Tibbles. J-Luke looking now to get back through on Dan the man. Dan the man himself looking racy with Machine Fishy. Look at this, the top 3, just 4 tenths between them. Will anyone go for a move down into turn 1? J-Luke thinks about the outside. He's going to break a little later. He's going to take the position. Surely it's going to be so close between these two, side by side. Dan the man for now holds off. Matt Tibbles right behind the pair of them, looking racy as well. But 2nd and 3rd is still side by side. J-Luke and Dan the man fighting dangerously, fighting brilliantly over the 2nd position on the racetrack. And J-Luke lakes a little later, takes the position and into P2. What a move with Matt Tibbles. Almost hits the back of Dan the man as Carl almost goes up the inside of Matt Tibbles for P4.
Yeah, this battle for top 7, still nose to tail, hasn't really changed since the race start. DRS is kind of helping with that factor as well. As Machine Fishy was trying to pull a gap, he needs to realistically pull a 2nd gap, and now he's got J-Luke behind him and he's closing into that gap, J-Luke.
This is fantastic stuff from the top 7 in this race. About 2.5 seconds covers them all. We've seen some brilliant racing side by side. Hardly any contact, even if it is, it's just a little wheel bang or anything like that. But this has been a brilliant race so far, and the top 7 are still so close together. Any of these 7 could win this race. Will any of them choose to do an early pit stop and try and get out of that traffic? And Matt Tibbles and Jack Hickey have done just that.
Yeah. Yeah, they have into the pit lane, so we've got the 2 earliest stops. Lap number 5 they've come in at the end of. They're going to go a long way into this race on those medium tyres. I think they will just about have the durability in this race to go with medium tyres. Meanwhile, J-Luke all over the back of Machine Fishy. Machine Fishy has no DRS to fend him off. He has to use whatever he's got in overtake reserve to try and fend off from the Williams driver. Is the Williams driver going to go for a move up the inside? Not quite close enough there to realistically make it worth. Is he going to do the switch back? Yes, he is. He's going to dive up the inside in turn 6. They're going to be side by side going around turn 6. Through turn 7, they're going to be side by side and down turn 7. Not quite. J-Luke has got the position and is into the lead of this race, but that might be bad news as Machine Fishy is now going to have the DRS next time they head down the main straight.
Dan the man just about holding off as well on P3 in the fight for Kyle. Crucially, Jack Hickey is ahead of Matt Tibbles. I don't know if that was the case before the pit stops or not, but Jack Hickey is ahead of the Renault driver. Okay, so Matt Tibbles losing time in the pit lane. Jack Hickey potentially race-winning pit stop there. Now ahead of Matt Tibbles and in some clean air. Can start to have some quick lap times as Dan the man almost loses it at the final corner. Now will his top 4 drivers react to those that are pitted already? Dan the man does just that, as does Kyle. Both of them coming into the pit lane. Got to be careful not to speed in the pit as we go back to the back on the front. J-Luke 4 tenths clear of Machine Fishy. Will we see him move down to turn 1?
Yeah, that is the main thing to watch. Machine Fishy, is he going to have a move? Yes, he is. Down the inside into turn number 1. You keep an eye on where Matt Tibbles and Jack Hickey peel out from the pit stops with each other. But Machine Fishy has retaken the lead of this race for the time being. But J-Luke is going to use the slipstream and maybe some overtake to try and keep up with him. But I don't think he's going to be quite close enough. Meanwhile, Jack Hickey has got past the lot of them, as has Matt Tibbles. No, Matt Tibbles has slotted in behind Kyle. So Matt Tibbles has really lost out in those spots. And Jack Hickey has gained massively. Dan the man's lost out massively as well there, Dom.
Yeah, Dan of course had to serve that 5-second time penalty for early in the race. He'll be good with that. Now down in P8, of course starting in pole position. Not looking like he's going to win the race here, but Jack Hickey might just win his first race of the season here. His first race ever in TGP1, but he's got Kyle all over the back of him, just 3/10 of the gap at the moment. The Williams driver currently about to outscore Matt Tibbles by just the 2 points. Of course, drivers ahead still to make their stops. Aiden, Joe Belmanity third and fourth, going longer on this stint. Machine Fishing J-Luke will be going a bit longer.
Safety car.
Right, so the drivers Machine Fishy and J-Luke dive into the pit lane, as will Aiden and Joe Belmanity. That's fantastic timing for them. And we are down to 11 runners here at the Mexican Grand Prix with still 11 laps to go.
Yeah, we have indeed. It's been quite the race of attrition. We haven't really been able to take any notice of that apart from the start incident, because it's just been so close up the front. The top 7 have been scrapping like no tomorrow. And it'll be interesting to see how these leaders peel out compared to the other guys. Machine Fishy is ahead of J-Luke coming through the stops. I think they are going to be out 1, 2 and 3. These guys that have made the later pit stop. But it's going to be very tight. Actually, no, they're not. Jack Hickey has slotted in into second, but Machine Fishy is now your race leader.
And Aiden, crucially, between the 2 Williams drivers as the VSC ends. So why was that the case? Because the top 3 all had 5-second time penalties. None of us realised it, but the top 3 all had to serve 5-second time penalties. They were all held for a little longer, so despite the VSC, there was no advantage. Because Jack Hickey is now up to P2 ahead of J-Luke and Machine Fishy. Does lead the race still, but only by a second over Jack Hickey, who has warmer tyres. Aiden now ahead of Kyle and Matt, the 2 title contenders.
Yeah, and the big loser from all those pit stops, now they've all played out, is Dan the Man, having to serve that 5-second time penalty for gaining position off the circuit. And it's cost him, he's now 3.5 seconds off the back of this train. And now, unless there's something major happen, he has to get his skates on and try and get back to the train, which could be doable in this race, thanks to how close this lot all are and how tightly they're battling.
Well, we've had a fantastic race so far between the top 7 drivers. That top 7 fight looks like it's going to continue into the final second half of this race. Paul in the background is being lapped again. I think he may have disconnected from this session, so really it's 10 runners away on course to score some big points here at the moment. Aidan Griffiths now has to hold off the championship challenger of Kyle. It's going to be too easy, I think, for the Williams driver. He pulls to the right. Aidan, despite having DRS, will be a sitting duck here. Kyle has extra speed going into turn 1. He will take the position unless Aiden can do something about it. Going around the outside, they're going to go side by side. Aiden, for now, fends off. Fantastic racing between these 2.
Yeah, and something crucial I need to mention as well is that Machine Fishy has broken the DRS on Jack Hickey. So now he's got 1.5 second lead over the rest of this lot, which may be crucial. J-Luke looking to the outside of Jack Hickey, try and get himself up into that P2. They're going to be side by side through into turn 6. Jack Hickey's going to try and hold on around the outside, but I think that's job done. Yes, it is. J-Luke is up into P2, Jack Hickey down to P3.
Now J-Luke can start the chase down Machine Fishy. As you said, he broke the DRS, but Jack Hickey was not the quicker of the 2 cars between him and J-Luke. J-Luke now crucially into that second place, can start to bring that gap down. There's still a long way to go in this race. Hayden Griffin's now just 3/10 behind his teammate. There are officially just 10 cars left in this race. Mexico is a real car killer, it seems, because we're down to 10 runners, but thankfully we've got the best 10 runners who have given us a fantastic fight so far in the first 9 laps, still on track. Kyle and Matt Tibbles are now going to be all over the back of these 2 racing points as we start the 10th lap.
Yeah, we're starting lap number 10. Jack Hickey is already, he's just about still in DRS of J-Luke, but he's going to be in trouble from his teammate behind with Aiden. Carl's behind with the DRS open. Matt Tibos is behind with the DRS open. And like I said, it was all about Dan. He's actually gained a second on that last lap, and he's now closing in back on this battle.
Yeah, this is helping him up massively, isn't it? If he can continue to fight for a bit longer, Dan the Man will very quickly be in this fight, and with fresher tyres, because of course these drivers are now starting to fight each other. They're going to get a bit more tyre wear, a bit more ERS are going to be used, I'm sure, as they fight for position here. But what a fight this is for P second downwards at the moment. Look at his train behind J-Luke. Fantastic stuff. About 5 seconds covers the top 6 at the moment, and Dan the Man starts to join the back of this pack.
Yeah, most of the field are covered by what? 6 seconds, if that, at the moment. Pretty much the majority of the runners still going. We've got Roy sitting in 8, about 6.5 seconds off the back of Dan. JD's about 7 seconds off him, and Waze is running around. Everyone's got to score points in this race though, but he's running around about 13.5 seconds off the back of Jake.
You can see Carl getting so close to the back of Aidan Griffin. I think Aidan Griffin is going to be another sitting duck, but he seemed to keep the position on the last lap. Jack Hickey makes a mistake, which is going to give Aidan an extra speed boost going into turn 1, because he's going to be so close behind the slipstream.
Well, I think it's hampered him actually slightly, his run onto the straight there. Jack Hickey, he's hampered Aiden's run onto the straight there, and now he's going to be real trouble from Kyle behind. They're both going to be on the overtake, and they're both going to have the DRS wide open. Is Kyle going to look for a move? No, he isn't. I think he's not really risking it at the moment, Kyle, knowing that his main title threat is behind him on the road as it stands.
I thought Jay Luke would start to close that gap on Machine Fishy, but instead he's just gone to the front of this pack and they're continuing to bunch together. Look at this, 2 seconds between second, third, fourth, fifth and sixth, so close between one another, and they're all picking up time penalties in the process too, so this race result might not be the result in about 15 minutes time when we see the final race standings. So which way is this championship going to swing? At the moment, Carl's going to score 2 more points on Matt Tibbers. The gap will go from 9 to 11. 9 to 11. So Machine Fishy wins this race as things stand, takes huge points off the title rivals. Corey is out of the title race. He can now not win this championship. J. Luke needs to win. I hope that Matt Tibbers and Kyle do not score big points, which at the moment is looking pretty likely. So J. Luke might just hang on in that fight, but I think we're about to see once again these cars get very close to each other as Jack Hickey now just 2 tenths back from J. Luke in second.
Yeah, J. Luke again having a bit of trouble in that stadium section there, getting right up to the back of J. Luke and then losing time through that section. As we see Jack Hickey DRS wide open, Aiden DRS wide open, Kyle DRS wide open, and Matt Tibos DRS wide open. These guys nose to tail still, and they haven't left. Hasn't been that way. It's been that way since they've all pitted. It's been so tight and pretty much all race. Dan the Man's now back to about 3.5 seconds back, so that's pretty much his title hopes done and dusted for this season. So he's going to come back next year fighting most likely. But we're still going to have a great title decider next week, so just tune in for that as it stands.
Yeah, Dan the Man isn't seeming to join this fight at the moment. He did start to close the gap, but he's just sitting at the moment. Roy has the fastest at the moment down in P8 for Renault, so he'll take a point for the Renault team in their fight for second in the constructors against Ferrari. But yeah, it is the fight at the moment. The second downwards that we're sticking with. This is fantastic stuff. We've still got 6 laps to go after this. The race is going so quickly now. We've got this fight for P2 downwards. Then we saw a similar thing in TGP2 towards the end of the race. It's the racing point of Aiden, very twitchy, almost sticking it in the wall, and that would have been down to 9 runners if he'd gone into that wall. Thankfully, just about keeping it out, and for now, keeping within a second, I think, of his teammate ahead, which is crucial, because as soon as he loses that DRS, he's going to be sitting up to Carl behind.
Yeah, he is indeed. This train is still pounding around, and Machine Fishy is actually now quite comfortable in the lead of this race. Like we said, we broke the DRS from Jack Hickey, and I think it's been job done since there for Machine Fishy, barring any mistakes or penalties. Once again, it was quite crucial in TGP1.
Going for it.
It was Kyle looking to the outside of Aiden, and is he going to quite get the move done? No, he isn't. But that is probably the most likely where an overtake is going to happen in this train. Is Aiden actually, he's now actually out of the DRS of his teammate as well. So that's not going to be helpful next lap round as it stands. As Kyle looking to the outside through turn number 4, gives him the big old squeeze, and they just go
Matt Tibbos has taken a pair of them.
Sneaks up the inside of the pair of them. What a move! Matt Tibbos. What a move from Matt Tibbos. Sneaks up the inside of the pair of them. They're scrapping so hard, Aiden and Kyle. And Matt Tibbos just decided, nah, I see that inside line, I see that gap, and I'm going for it, and taking the pair of them as he goes up into P4 and makes more inroads in Kyle's championship lead.
Wow, Matt Tibbos was very smart there, knew what was about to happen between Kyle and Aiden. Those two were getting very close, very racy, and in the end, those two getting wheel to wheel. Matt Tibbos saw his opportunity, went up the inside and took 2 places, and suddenly he was losing 2 points to Kyle. Now he is gaining 2. That gap will be down to 7 points, and Kyle isn't quite close enough to do anything about Matt Tibbos. Aiden is now right on the back of Kyle. Will Aiden try and get back straight through again into turn 1? I think a little too far back. No errors for either driver, so neither of them getting any boost of that as Jack Hickey continues to sit just half a second back from J. Luke, who has closed in ever so slightly on Machine Fishy. The gap is just now over a second.
Yeah, he is closing in indeed. Meanwhile, Machine Fishy is lapping someone, it looks like. I think that's Waze. He's just lapping on the road now. Yes, it is. So that is that. But this gap, this battle has now been split off into 2 subgroups. We've got the top 3, and now we've got the battle with the title contenders, 4th, 5th and 6th.
This is brilliant stuff, isn't it? Don't quite know which way this race is going to go. The gap at the moment is coming down between Kyle and Matt. Matt crucially getting ahead of his rival. Looked like he was just going to sit behind and wait for the moment. He did just that. On lap 13, he saw his opportunity, went up the inside of both Aiden and Kyle taking the position. Now he will start to try and close that gap down to the other racing point of Jack Hickey. 22 seconds back Jack Hickey in a race, of course, with J. Luke, so the gap should start to come down in these final few laps. Machine Fishy, for now, holding on to what would be a third race win of the season, his first win of being in the dry since last season.
Well, one thing to bear in mind is in TGP2, the race was won by someone who actually finished about 4th on the road, thanks to other drivers having penalties. So it'd be important to factor that in. This is the order on the road as it stands, but there could be penalties decided in this race, and it could completely jumble up the order, Dom.
It could. We'll have to keep an eye on those penalties, and we might not know until the very end of the race, when we see the results, who has actually won this race. Kyle is now just 3/10 back on Matt Tibbles for the first time in, 4 or 5 weeks? It seems like Kyle actually has more pace than Matt Tibbles, the guy that is closing in on him in the championship. Jack Hickey, P4, still within half a second of J. Luke, who himself is now almost within a second of Machine Fishy. Still 3.5 laps to go, and you cannot call this race as things stand.
Yeah, we cannot indeed. And as it stands on the road, Matt Tibos gains another 2 points on Kyle, so it'll be 7 points the gap going into the final 2 races next week. Dan the Man's pretty much out of title contention now, like we've already mentioned, so it would be a 2-horse race next week. Jack Hickey's just about sticking to the back of J. Luke as he pounds to the back of Machine Fishy now. And I reckon he could be within a couple of laps and maybe breaking into that DRS of Fishy. J. Luke for 2nd place.
Machine Fishy, 3-second time penalty. J. Luke, 3-second time penalty. Jack Hickey, nothing. Matt Tibbles, nothing, and neither does Kyle. So it could be 3rd, 4th and 5th that make the podium places at the end. Because Jack Hickey looking very good at the moment, just 2 seconds back from Machine Fishy, could still win this race. A first career win it would be, but he's just got to stay within that gap and hope that J. Luke can stick with Machine Fishy so he doesn't drop back 3 seconds overall, as Kyle now getting very close to the back of Matt Tibbles, Owen.
Yeah, he is indeed. Kyle all over the back of Matt Tibos once again, going down the main straight. Got another DRS though, and we've got about 2.5 laps left in this race. But like you said, if they have no penalties, Jack Hickey, Matt Tibos and Kyle, like you mentioned, this actually makes it worse for Kyle as they run on the road, as the gap would come down from 9 points down to 6 points, I believe.
Fishy has 3 seconds. J. Luke now has 6 seconds. That's his chances to win, I think, gone at the moment. But Jack Hickey looking very good if he can just stick within 3 seconds of Machine Fishy with just 2 more laps to go. What can Kyle do about Matt Tibbles in front of him? Matt Tibbles is only going to gain 2 points at the moment, but if Matt Tibbles is close enough to J. Luke and Fishy, he could have drivers slot in between him and Kyle, depending on the gap between those two, so it might still be more points that Matt closes in on this championship. So keep an eye, this is going to be crucial as we go into the final 2 laps of the race, but it is for now Machine Fishy who leads 1.3 ahead of J. Luke, but crucially 2.5 clear of Jack Hickey, who doesn't serve a penalty at the moment.
Yeah, so as it stands, I'm just doing a quick calculation as they run on the road. We've got Matt Tibos having Kyle all over the back of him, but as they run on the road, I think Machine Fishy would slot in 2nd just behind Jack Hickey and ahead of Matt Tibos. If he's only got 3 seconds worth of penalties and the others have none, he would slot into that 2nd place, so it would be a 3-point gap still actually if it stayed as it was and J. Luke slots in behind with those 6 seconds worth of penalties.
These two are racing very closely, Kyle and Matt Tibos. Kyle needs these points. This is a real chance for him to actually extend his gap over his rival. It's come down in the last few weeks, but now Kyle with a chance to take out that position, and he knows the drivers will slot in between them. If the gap's too big, he must stay close to the Renault. He must try and get through if he can. Save that ERS if he can, the management. Matt Tibos carrying the same ERS as Kyle, so Kyle will have no extra advantage other than the DRS going on to the last lap down that long straight. Kyle needs to stick close to Tibos, though Tibos pulling away in the 3rd sector in the last few laps. And now Jack Hickey, crucially, 2.8 behind Machine Fishy. He cannot afford to lose 2 more tenths or he will lose this race win.
Yeah, he needs to stay within 2 tenths of Machine Fishy to have the race victory. That's the real thing we're looking at, because there's not really, the only real overtake we could probably have now is Kyle maybe overtaking Matt Tibos, but Matt Tibos has such an advantage down the straight half the time. I don't think that's really going to happen. So we need to keep an eye on the times, the intervals between Matt Fishy and Jack Hickey. Currently 2.8 between them, so it would mean Jack Hickey wins the race as they are on the final lap now.
Matt Tibos and Kyle, the gap is just 3 tenths. Time running out for Kyle to get through. Will he go for an audacious move on the inside of this next corner, going into what I believe is turn 4? He's thinking about it. He's going to go to the right side of Matt Tibos. He'll break a little later. Matt Tibos looking in his rearview mirrors, trying to hold on to that P4 for now. This could be crucial come towards the end of the season next week. Brazil, Abu Dhabi. Matt Tibos for now holds on to P4, but look how close Kyle is, right on the back end of that Renault. But unfortunately, there's just not enough room, and I think there's only one more chance of a possible overtake on this final lap.
Yeah, and that's into the stadium section. Meanwhile, the gap at the front is actually about 2.7 seconds.
Oh, J-Luke's off!
J-Luke's
gone round, he's binned it! So he's now out of contention. He's gone to 6th position. So now we turn our attention to 1st and 2nd. Machine Fishy is going to cross the line for now to take on the road the victory here at Mexico. But Jack Hickey is just 2.6 behind. He only needs to be within 3 seconds if he's to win a first ever TGP1 race win. He crosses the line. And no, he must have got a penalty too on the last lap. He's dropped to 3rd. Kyle takes 2nd and Matt Tibbles is 4th.
The thing to worry about is Kyle has jumped up to 2nd through penalties and Matt Tibos stays in 4th.
Jack Hickey, with 3 corners to go, didn't have a single penalty on the race director, so he must have picked it up in the last corner, Jack Pearson style, and loses out on a first win. So Machine Fishy does take the victory from Kyle, and Matt Tibos loses 6 points in that title fight. So Kyle crucially taking P2. The carnage on the last lap as Kyle takes P2. J-Luke was in 2nd, but of course spun it and Waze driver of the day.
Well, he started last and he finished 10th, so I'm guessing most positions gained, even though he's the last of the runners.
I guess so. Well done to him. But Machine Fishy, 3rd win of the season. Kyle, I wish co-masters would sort their time penalties out. Machine Fishy wins this race from Kyle, and Jack Hickey at least will be very happy to be on the podium places. P3 for him, but Matt Tibos was passed by Kyle at the very end. And that could be crucial because he's now losing, 6 points in this championship fight. The gap is back up to 15 going into the final week of the season. Do not miss next week's races.
Yeah, so Machine Fishy takes the race victory here in Mexico from Kyle in 2nd and Jack Hickey in 3rd. Then we have Matt Tibos in 4th and Dan the Man in 5th. Hayden is in 6th. Then we have J. Luke in 7th. Jovial Mancy comes home in 8th. Jake Davis is in 9th. And Waze 2 laps down is the last of the runners in 10th, but picks up a solitary point. Then we have all the DNFs. We have both the Mercedes of Paul and Corey, Speed Knight and Speed Iceman, Lahofner, Risky and Konghofner, all out of the race early doors. Only 10 finishers. Quite the race of attrition, and we're going to have quite the title scrap between Matt Tibos and Kyle. The gap is going to be 15 points going into next week. So any final thoughts on tonight, Dom?
Well, this 4-way title fight that it was tonight is now down to 2 drivers. Dan the Man and Corey cannot win the title this season. It is between Kyle and Matt. The gap is 15 points. Next week is going to be absolutely fascinating. You do not want to miss it. So Brazil Abu Dhabi next Tuesday. I cannot wait for that.
Yeah, it's going to be very much something to behold. Unfortunately, I'm not about to commentate on that race. I believe you're going to have Mike Noon in the commentary box with you, Dom, next week. So that will be very exciting, and he's going to be a very lucky boy to commentate on the title decider. But hopefully you did enjoy TGP1 Season 34's rounds 19 and 20 from USA and Mexico. And we will see you next time out for the last 2 rounds of the season, round the Autodromo Carlos Pache in Brazil, also known as Interlagos, and the Yas Marinas circuit in Abu Dhabi under the lights for this title decider in TGP1. But thank you for joining us tonight, and we will see you next time out. So thank you for watching, and goodbye.